Welcome back here today again on the beautiful campus of Florida Panhandle Technical College. Spring has sprung. It feels more like summertime, but you cannot deny we truly have some of the most beautiful people and beautiful weather in the world. Today our guests are old friends of the show, not old chronologically, but certainly have been here before. Beth Bamford and Jennie both from Sunland Center in Marianna. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about Sunland, more importantly, their upcoming job fair. Sunland is looking for you. You may have the skills and qualifications necessary to go to work at Sunland. Sunland is an equal opportunity employer. They are a state entity. They have well-paid jobs, certainly something worth looking at. Very large part of that economic engine in Jackson County, which we've said many times when these people have been on the show. When we come back, we're going to talk to Beth and Jennie about all that and more, and we will be right back. Welcome back. As mentioned, our guests today are old friends of the show, Beth Bamford and Jennie from Sunland Center. Last time we talked to you guys, I think, was at Rish Park at Port St. Joe,
yes.
At Cape San Blas. Had a great trip. What a facility. You guys have the opportunity there to allow your residents to enjoy, even those who are in a chair or who have access issues, to enjoy that world's most beautiful beaches right there, the Sugar White Sands and the beautiful Gulf waters. What an opportunity. At the time, you had a group of burn victims who were there. I know in large part that camp is used for that purpose as well. A firemen's organization out of Tallahassee?
Yes, the Tallahassee Fire Department has established what they call Camp Amigo. It is a fully funded scholarship program for children who are burn survivors to be able to go and spend a week at the beach where they are with other children who maybe have similar injuries to them, where they just fit in. They don't feel by any means singled out or uncomfortable, because they're with people who they have a lot in common with. And it's just a fabulous event that this group puts on for these children, and we were there. We spent the majority of the day there.
Oh yeah.
And it was very just a rewarding experience to see that our facility at Rish Park not only benefits the individuals that we serve here at Sunland, but also others across the state. So it was really a great day.
That's a long drive from Chipley to Port St. Joe, and there's no easy way to get there.
No.
Yeah, but it was a beautiful day, and we swore at that time that we would come back soon, and here we are almost coming up on a year, and we have not. That's not what we're here to talk about, obviously, but, you know, I guess I really misspoke. The last time we really saw you guys was at the Fall Festival in October.
Yes.
On the Sunland campus. That was actually the last time we physically saw you. I think that in that interim we've emailed and spoken on the phone and so forth. What we're here to talk about in this instance, though, is the upcoming job fair that you guys have some positions to be filled, as you probably do all the time. And in this case, you're having an on-campus job fair to try to fill those positions. Talk a little bit about that, and what do we expect to see when we go?
Okay, so this Thursday, April 6th, Sunland will be hosting our first job fair that we've ever had. And Sunland has been there for over 50 years. This is something we've never done before. But it's an opportunity for people in the community who maybe drive by Sunland every day and they don't really know what we're all about. Or maybe they come to the Fall Festival every year, but they don't venture beyond the environmental park where that event is. So they really don't realize that there's great career potential for people who are looking to build a career. We do serve individuals with intellectual or developmental disabilities. We are a 24/7 facility. It's a residential setting, so people actually live there. We have over 300 residents that we serve. We're the largest employer in Jackson County, and a lot of people don't know that, but we have over 800 employees on our campus. So there are a lot of fields of work that people could pursue, from direct care with the residents to medical to maintenance positions. Our administrative services covers our food service department. We have positions there. We have office positions. So it's just a great place to work and great place to start a career.
You guys are a small town. Effectively, you can do everything in-house.
Yes.
You have your own water plant, you have your own sewage treatment plant, and everything in between. You've got the ability to, you've got your own printing shop.
Yes, we do.
Early on in our relationship, I asked if we could get involved with you in some way, perhaps provide printing services. I was schooled. You guys have, again, it's a small town for all practical purposes. You have your culinary program. And you point out, when you go to the Fall Festival, and I would dare say that that's when most people who have never been to Sunland end up on the Sunland campus for that Fall Festival.
Right.
That's a huge event. To the uninitiated, it seems to go on and on and on. And in reality, it's only in that environmental park, but it's a very large footprint. And there are a lot of people. Traffic is really heavy. You have to park. There's a little bit of walking involved. As a member of the press, we can drive right into the park, and that gets us spoiled. But we lose sight of the fact that on the way out, particularly, we see those literally a mile of cars, getting into the park. So that's the impression people get of Sunland. They think it's a state park in many cases, because your campus and that environmental park could be a state park. You guys do some great work. As I started off, I think in the pre-show, talking about the part of the economic engine of Jackson County, as you point out, you're the largest employer. Were Sunland to go away, and I know in the past there have been opportunities when we've seen talk in the legislature about changes to Sunland, nothing gets attention quicker in Jackson County, and certainly in the Marietta, greater Marietta area, than to talk about that economic impact.
Right.
Because the paychecks every other Friday, I can just imagine, again, lots of stuff going on due to that influx of cash from people working there. All to say that it's a great place to work. We've had people on the show here, Mr. Cox, for instance, who actually grew up on the campus because his father was a superintendent, and he's been there for 45 years, or he says 45, I think he's actually older than that. But what's his first name?
Clint.
Clint. And others, too, who have that same story, who have been there for decades and generations, literally. So a great place to work. Would you say it's a good workplace, Jennie?
I love it. Can't find a better place to work in Jackson County, in my opinion.
It was more rhetorical because I know you, but I do want people to hear your story. You smile most of the time anyway. You're an up person. Your glass is always half full versus half empty. But I know that you're passionate about Sunland. Realistically, I don't know, and I can say this honestly, I don't think I've met one person who is employed by Sunland who doesn't have either a personal story to tell or a smile on their face because they're just happy to be there. Much of that could be that they're just proud to have a job, but at the end of the day, if you've worked there for a number of years at all, you've got buy-in.
Absolutely.
You're engaged in the work of Sunland. Talk a little bit about your experience with Sunland. How long have you worked there?
I worked at Sunland for 5 years. I transferred from another state agency. However, my parent, my mother worked at Sunland for a number of years, so I've always known what Sunland's about. It is the most rewarding job that I've had in my career with the state, and I'm starting on my 30th year. And what a pleasure it is and an opportunity to be able to serve the residents that we work with every day. They put a new perspective on life, and they are happy, and it just makes my life so much more filled.
As most people, I never had the opportunity to have much interaction with Sunland. Had been to the Fall Festival as a spectator, not as a media person or covering the event. Enjoyed it. It was a beautiful place, and end of story, until we started speaking to you guys. And the Fall Festival parade is probably the single best spotlight to see the smiles of your residents. They participate. They're just happy to be there.
Absolutely.
What's interesting is that for the last 3 fall festivals, there's a gentleman who is now retired law enforcement from Niceville, and his brother is a resident at Sunland and has been for many, many years. I met them 3 years ago. Last year and again 2 years ago and again this past October. Both times the resident came up to me and said, "I know you." And of course the brother did too once he said that. You end up making relationships. We're there just for a few hours, and you don't expect anything beyond a few photos. You actually end up making relationships in spite of yourself, even if you don't want to. It's that kind of a place.
It really is, and you often hear people say relationships matter, when you're looking for a job or if you're just in life in general. But the basic of relationships that you have at Sunland are people who put their total trust in you. They love you. We love them. they often will call you mom or dad, and that's, to me, that's the greatest compliment that you could have. If someone that you have a privilege to serve every day cares enough about you that when they see you as family. And so relationships matter at Sunland. It is a career. Like any career, you have your ups and downs, but by far, it's the most rewarding career you could ever have.
And that's a perfect segue into what I wanted to talk about next, and that is that charge, that responsibility, and the vetting that people should expect if they want to be a resident or an employee at Sunland. Obviously, there's background checks. There's probably a little bit more than going to work down at the 7-Eleven.
Yes.
So let's talk a little bit about what that entails. Obviously, they're going to have to fill out some paperwork. They probably have to go through a background check, et cetera. Can you give us any insight at all into that process?
Sure. Well, the process begins with an online application. The positions that Sunland has are posted on the People First website.
Let me just stop you there, and excuse me for doing so. What's really cool about this is that we're trying to get people involved in your job fair, but after seeing this, they don't even have to come to the job fair. They can literally go on your website and apply online, even having not attended the job fair?
They can, but we really want them to come to the job fair
Sure.
because what they're going to see online, if you go to People First, you're just going to see a list of positions that would be open. But when you come to this job fair, you're going to get to go to booths that are set up for every single department at Sunland. And while a department may or may not have a position, you're going to learn about all of the positions that they do have, because people come and go. You have people that are retiring for whatever reason. Maybe they've moved into another season of life and they've changed positions. Even within the center, people often move from other departments to build their career path. So this will give individuals that are interested in knowing about Sunland, not just seeing what they see online, but coming out and talking to the people, the boots on the ground, the people that are doing the work, find out what they do. We're going to offer tours of the center as well, so that will be really a great experience to find out if you're interested in working in a certain department, where is it? What do you do there? What does it look like? So you really get a feel for the community of Sunland, and I think you'll come away with a greater appreciation of what we do for the people that we serve, and also to recognize that there is a great potential for a career path for you.
Yeah, and I would imagine along with that vetting process that were you to be hired, that there would be a familiarization process as well,
Yes.
probably when you first start, that that's a huge campus if nothing else.
Yes.
You're going to have to find your way around. And it's probably important, no matter what department you work in, that you understand and are able to cooperate with all those other departments around you.
Yes. Staff, when they're first hired, go through a couple of weeks of staff development training.
Lots of breadcrumbs to be able to find your way back to your car at night, probably.
Maybe. But they have training from the various departments at Sunland on policies, procedures, processes. I'm certain that each department has their own in-house training that they go through as well. So you're not just hired and thrown into a job. You're well educated, and you learn about how we operate and what the requirements are and how to best serve the people that we're there to serve.
Would I be correct in presuming that there are good benefits?
Yes, yes. Of course, we have health insurance benefits. We have life insurance, dental, vision, earned paid leave for sick leave and vacation time, annual leave. We have paid holidays, so
These days and times, we have people taking jobs that may not be well paid hourly, but because of the benefit package attached to it, it really appeals to them. Our public school system's a good example. Teachers don't get paid very well, but they do generally have good insurance. And so we find more often than not that people are taking these jobs. Obviously, you have to have that dedication as a teacher to start with, but at the end of the day, you're not getting paid a whole lot of money.
right.
Jennie Ann, what's new and exciting at Sunland? You guys always have something coming up. I know you've got Art in the Park. Let's talk about that real quick.
We do. We have Art in the Park coming up on May the 6th at the Environmental Park. It's open to the public. It is a community art show, and we'll feature resident art as well as art from participants throughout our county.
I know that Maria Johnson and Judy Stanton had recently come on the show talking more in depth about the show. But this is now the third annual, and I would imagine that you've got metrics in place. You can measure response. Do you see that you're getting not just those people that are coming into the park for these events, but that maybe your websites or that your social media is getting more attention because of these external events?
I agree. When we go out into the community, it is definitely a positive experience, and people are talking about Sunland and the wonderful things that we're doing for the residents and the community. Lots of things, of opportunities for people to get involved, and we're always looking for new things to do.
With 800 plus people and one of the largest employers in the county, Beth, what percentage, ballpark, do you have any rough idea of those employees come from outside the environs of Jackson County? Half?
I don't know that I would say it's half. I think
Appreciable number, though?
I think there is an appreciable number. We even have some people that come from out of state, Alabama, Georgia, that come and work at Sunland, from other counties as well, Calhoun County, Washington, Bay. So we do have people that are coming from other areas, but it probably our largest sector of employees would be Jackson County residents.
35 or 40 years ago, my wife actually worked at Sunland.
Yes.
And then she went to work at Margaret K. Lewis in Panama City following that when her family moved to Panama City. Working in that environment is a calling. I referenced teaching just a moment ago. You've got to have love in your heart. You've got to have an open mind and an open heart. That's why we find, I think, my personal opinion is that we find people who have worked for Sunland for so long. They are people who are dedicated, who believe in what you do. It doesn't hurt that the state takes care of you in the way of pay and benefits. I mean, at the end of the day, people have to be able to pay their bills. But I believe it's a calling. I believe that it's something that is an avocation, as you say, a career versus a job. What do you find in the way of attrition? Do you find that you have a certain number of people who come and just don't like the environment or can't work in that environment? Or do you find that most everybody who comes to work sticks around?
I would say the majority of people that come to Sunland stay. Like any place where you're going to have some attrition, you're going to have people leave, because if you get there and it's not a good fit for you, you don't need to be there, because you need to be able to come in every day with a heart to want to serve these individuals. They depend on us, and so we have to give them the best quality of care that we can and that they very, very much deserve. But I would say the majority of people that come stay. You talked about longevity, and we've had so many retirees that they're ready to retire. You reach that milestone in life, and then they get home, and they may stay a year or two, and then they're coming back because this is where they grew up, basically, and these are the people that they also consider their family. And so many people do come back just to work, and if not work, even to come back to volunteer, to spend time with the residents.
We talked about your various events. Whether you run into your residents and staff at the Fall Festival, which is a huge event, whether it's the Mariana Christmas Parade, and you always have a float in that, whether it's at Art in the Park or some of your very smaller events, your staff universally are smiling, they are welcoming, they are very glad to accept your comments or to answer your questions. You guys go above and beyond in vetting and qualifying and making sure that your people are educated in what you do and put the best face forward for you as a business, because at the end of the day, you are a business, and if you don't pay your bills, you're not going to be around much longer. Best of luck going forward, and thanks for coming by. Hopefully you're going to have a whole bunch of people come out for the job fair, as you point out, and that makes sense to me, that being on the campus, and I would imagine that everything apples to apples, if I were one of many people applying for a job and you remembered me from meeting you at the job fair versus just an online application, chances are I would probably get a little bit more attention just because you could put a name with the face.
Sure.
So that's got to be a good thing to do.
Right.
So that's on Thursday, April 6th on the Sunland campus.
Right.
Where will they actually have to go for the job fair?
Once you come onto the campus, security will direct you over to the gymnasium where the event will be held. The hours are from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. It's going to be a great day. We expect a large turnout. We've had a number of calls and inquiries. We have put this in the local paper. It's on the community calendars. It's on the radio. Unless you live under a rock, if you drive through Mariana, you're going to see signs all over the place about it. So we're just wanting to make the public aware that there is a job fair We do have vacancies right now that we're filling, and always potential vacancies. So we want people to come out and see what we're all about and to see what the future has to hold for them.
Well, with my calendar not in front of me, I can't really speak to it with authority, but now that we know about it, we're going to try to come over and maybe interview a few people.
Okay.
We really like to get the perspective of people who have just gotten there, hat in hand, don't really know what to expect, talk to them a little bit about what their expectations are, maybe catch them on the other side of that meeting and when they're leaving the event, and find out a little bit in their own words. And that's good information for you too, obviously, to find out how people received your offering. And because at the end of the day, they are there looking for a career, not a job. Thanks again for coming.
Thank you so much for having us.
Our guest today has been Beth Bamford and Jennie Dean from Sunland Center in Marietta, talking about Sunland Center as the single largest employer in Jackson County, Florida. Also the impact that it has on the region. As Beth points out, people coming from Alabama, Georgia, and all of the surrounding counties to work in Marietta at Sunland Center. If you haven't been to the campus, I would dare say this would be a good opportunity. Frankly, if I would like a tour of the place, maybe I would say I was looking for a job. Now, I'm not looking for a job, but if I come, do you think I could tag along on one of those tours?
I'm sure you can. We will make it happen.
Well, because we've been talking about that with Jerry for the longest time.
We have been for a year now, at least.
Maybe come around with a couple cameras and with privacy and all that in mind, but still be able to at least look at the campus. We may just do that.
We'd love to have you.
As mentioned, our guest is Beth Bamford and Jennie Dean from Sunland Center. We pretty much said it all. Check it out. It's their job fair, April 6th. You can go to their website on the screen right now. Don't miss this if you're looking to start a new career. And make no mistake, this is a career. We'll be right back.